Keep migrants out of your mouth when you complain about the NHS. Migrants are probably one of the main reasons we still have one. Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. I think there is no better way to celebrate the festive period than by ripping apart the argument of a fat economic migrant. Okay, if you don't know it by common sense or having a fully functional brain, that argument is complete, utter bollocks. It makes less sense than piss Diane Abbott, and I am here to tell you why. I am aware I'm slightly repeating myself here from my last live stream, but most people don't watch them anyway. It's only the dedicated, tasteful few that sit through those all the way through. So first things first, let's listen to his unfunny attempt at comedy. I use the word very, very advisedly on this Mickey Mouse Guardianista chat show.
With migrant figures being released today, there's a demonisation of migrants again. So do you think it's possible that a similar thing's going to happen here?
Yeah, I mean, it does worry me for obvious reasons. But, I see some of the rhetoric, right? And it's always the same shit. Like, oh, the NHS is suffering because of the migrants. Bitch, please. The NHS has run because of migrants. If it wasn't for us...
Does he mean because in the what? They give them more work? Like what does he mean by that? We've all seen the statistics. We know who is responsible for the majority of stabbings, shootings, explosions, terrorism-related incidents. Basically, all of the mad shit that's gone on in the last few years. We know who does it. And it is a minority of a minority of a minority. Despite being something like 4% of the country, one particular group, and age group, obviously age is relevant, which is why everybody's concerned about the age and gender of the big hairy-arsed geezers that keep coming over in the little dinghies. But one particular group of a particular age, despite being about 4% of the population of the UK, is responsible for about 60% of the stabbings, shootings and explosions. So, if he's talking about work experience, maybe they are helping. I'm just saying, they'd be better off getting a nice gradual work experience and not having to constantly stitch people back together at the taxpayer's expense.
I'm sorry. If it wasn't for migrants, the NHS would be closed on a Sunday. I'm sorry.
Right, where to start with that? First of all, was the NHS open on a Sunday in 1975? Just putting out there. 1982. 1991. Could you see a doctor on a Sunday? Answers on a postcard, because in all those years, the UK had a sensible, reasonable, logical approach to immigration and would take tens of thousands of people maximum in a year. A nice trickle-in approach. The kids fit in, the kids went to school with people like me and learned to speak English and started supporting the same terrible football clubs, and they became well-adjusted British kids as a result of our sensible, reasonable, conservative immigration policies. And then, lo and behold, Tony Blair took over and completely wrecked the country forever by importing millions of people. And let's just do the basic mathematics. Since he arrived in power, over 10 million people have moved to the UK. And of that 10 million plus, only a couple of 100,000 work for the NHS. So they can't even look after the other people that have moved to the UK. Almost all of the heavy lifting in the NHS is done by Brits. The NHS worked fine in the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s because working class British kids, especially up north, every working class girl wanted to be a nurse. We used to train them ourselves. They did the work. So he's not even making the point he thinks he's making there, because what he's basically saying is, yes, we did take jobs from working class people. But even if that wasn't the argument, cast your eyes back. Remember the 80s? I remember getting the flu when I was about 7 years old, and me mum rang a doctor, and within 4 hours there was a fat ginger bloke in my living room saying to me, yes, he was a doctor, not just a local paedophile who wandered in off the streets, right? I know, it's Middlesbrough, strange things happen, but I assure you this gentleman was a doctor. His name was Dr. Dunn. I remember it well because he said I was in good health, I only had the flu, I'd be right as rain in a couple of days, but I could do with losing a few pounds. And because Dr. Dunn was about 18 stone, my dad said, "You need talk, fatty." And he chuckled and said, "Haha, yes, I know, I'm one to talk." And then he went on his way. That doesn't happen now. That doesn't happen. Because funny old thing, moving 10, 11, 12, I don't even know what the numbers are if you include all the illegals, million people wrecks your infrastructure. Not only have these economic migrants wrecked the NHS, the numbers, the data, the statistics, and the common sense proves it beyond all doubt. Not only have they decimated the NHS, you can't get a dentist appointment, you can't get a doctor's appointment, the roads are knackered, the traffic's terrible, you can't get a job, you can't buy a house, you can't find a school place. Everything is knackered because of economic migrants. The fact that 10 or 20 or 30,000 of them do jobs in the NHS that 20 million working class English girls could have done anyway, easily, if we trained them. The fact that that happened makes not a jot of difference. So you, Mr. I don't even know what he is. He says he's British, but he's got a massive chain with Africa on his neck, and he's wearing a jihadi headdress. He looks like a cross between HeavyD, Mr. T, and Osama bin Laden. I mean, I don't even know what's going on there. But that's it. His argument is nonsense. He isn't funny. And judging by the size of his buffalo ass, he's going to be yet another drain on resources. Because if he isn't in need of a heart bypass within the next 20 years, I'll eat hay with a donkey. Anyway, there's a nice short festive video for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back tomorrow. Alright? In the meantime, have a pint, watch the footy, enjoy yourselves. Keep your chins up because we are the only sane people in the world at this point. The working class oiks that the pill-popping sexual deviants that run the world laugh at. We're the only sane people. So keep your chins up, keep smiling, and I'll see you all very soon. Toodle pip. Cheers.